Hello from Stockholm. This is Voice for Ukraine, the pod where we will speak with brave and caring people in Sweden who stand with Ukraine in these dark times. My name is Katerina Pavelko. I am a journalist from Ukraine who came to Sweden with my family because of the war. Every week I will find 4 persons, both Ukrainians and Swedes, and they raise their voices for Ukraine against Russia in this cruelest war of the 21st century. Today we will know what would you think about if you would stay in the middle of Bucha after Russian invasion of this peaceful Ukrainian city.
My name is Karin Karlsbro and I'm member of the European Parliament since 2019. I'm also member of the delegation to Ukraine, which is a special committee working with relation and cooperation with Ukraine. I'm also active in trade policy and climate and environmental policy. But of course, I've been more and more active to work to support Ukraine since the war started. I'm representing the Liberal Party, Liberalerna in Sweden, and I'm in the Renew group. It's the Liberal Centre group in the European Parliament. Actually, it is the same group that we have also the members from Macron's party in France, and also President Zelensky's party is in the same liberal family.
Oh, okay. Karin, what were you thinking about when you were walking in the middle of Irpin and Bucha? And what impressed you the most?
I mean, it is like a nightmare. And I mean, this is not about me. It's I want to understand what the people who live there, what they went through. And it's difficult to take in when you are there, because it's so terrible things. And I'm still taking in and trying to understand that things like this can happen in Europe 2022, because it's impossible. But we have to face the fact that it has happened. And I think it's so important to tell about the experience I had. And I mean, it's for me, it's like before I visited Ukraine and after. You can't move back in time, because I saw, I listened to the people, and I could hear the silence of the empty cities. And I could also smell how it smells when someone is burning down societies like this. So I think it's so important to tell the truth. But what the truth is, it's almost impossible to take in and understand.
No. Could you please tell me what must Swedes and Europeans people know about the war in Ukraine?
I think right now they must know and they must understand that what we saw in Bucha some weeks ago and on other places, the same thing is happening in the east of Ukraine right now while we are talking. We have to understand that. And it's war crimes. It's a war and attacks against civilians. It's killing and it's mass murders, and all these terrible things is happening right now. And we also have to understand that we have to stop Putin, because he will continue. I'm sure of that. And we know when we see which fight Ukrainians take. I can't find the right words to describe how brave the Ukrainians are in this situation. But we have to support Ukraine to stop Putin, and because he will not stop, he will continue with other countries. I'm sure of that.
Please, can you tell me what has Sweden already done to support Ukraine and Ukrainians and why?
Sweden have together with the other states in the European Union, and I think most of all together in the EU, and that's very important that the EU is united in this.
Yeah.
We have supported Ukraine militarily with weapons, which I think is key. That was the clear message from the politicians I met in Ukraine, but also with humanitarian aid support to refugees, both inside Ukraine and outside Ukraine. And of course, sanctions on Putin, on Russia, but it's still not enough, and we are now expecting a next package of sanctions because it has to be tougher, and we have to fill the gaps we can see. And I think it's also important to stop the import of Russian oil and gas. In the Liberal Party, we used to say that there are two problems with Russian gas. It's Russian and it's gas. So we have to speed up the green transition and get rid of Russian gas, because it's the export to EU that also financed the war against Ukraine. So we have to push for that, and we have still a long way to go.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And how do you think, what can Sweden and Europe learn from the war in Ukraine?
Oh, I have really reflected a lot about that, because there are so many dimensions of what we can learn. One thing is that we have been so naive. I think we have taken peace for granted. Still, we have seen what Putin have done in Ukraine for years, and we have listened to his message, and actually Putin is doing exactly what he said he should do. So the war is unfortunately very predictable, and we have to understand that what he is saying now, how he can expand the war and the attack, it can be truth. So we have to prepare for the worst. I hope, of course, that it will not happen, but I think we have to see this with open eyes, what we can expect. And then second, I think it's important also to learn from Ukraine that it's possible to make resistance. I met with politicians, with colleagues in the Rada in Kiev. I met with the president of the parliament, Ruslan Stefanchuk, and he told me, I mean, it was so brave of the leadership, the political leadership, to decide during the night of the 24th of February to stay in Kiev. But he said that, well, if we have decided to go, if we have decided to leave Kiev, leave Ukraine, what could we fight for? What should we ask other Ukrainians to fight for? Because this is a fight about democracy, our people's right to decide about their future. So I think that's something we should take into our heart, that our democracy is worth fighting for.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, here in Sweden, some people ask me several times when we fled here with my family, who is right now in this war, Putin or Zelensky, and how would you answer them?
I think we have to be crystal clear that this war, this is only, when it comes to this war, it's only one country, one state, one political leadership responsible for what is happening in Ukraine right now, and that is Russia, and it's Putin. It's an attack from Russia on Ukraine. It's an attack from the dictatorship in Moscow. It's an attack from them on the democratic leadership in Ukraine. It's 100% responsibility of Russia. No one threatened Russia. No one had plans to attack them. And I think we have to be crystal clear on that. Sometimes I hear also in media we talk about the conflict, but it's a war, and it's one country which attacked another independent, innocent country in this case. So the answer is very clear and very simple.
Oh, I'm so thankful for you for this answer. And I want to ask you, what do you know about Ukraine in general? Maybe about people, about food or culture, sport. What you know about this country?
If you have asked me some months ago, I think my answer could have been very short, unfortunately. But if you ask me today, I could give you a long answer, because there are no good things at all with this war. But maybe one good result, and that was not what Putin planned. It was that now when we increase the contacts between other European countries and Ukraine, we learn so much about our countries, and we learn so much about fantastic Ukraine. And I have Ukrainians around me every day. I have Ukrainians here in the European Parliament. We have amazing trainees. Today they provided us with borscht, the wonderful soup.
Oh.
And I also have friends, both in Sweden and here in Brussels, that just like, it was like a coincidence that our ways crossed, and they have became my friends, and I learn about your kitchen, your culture, your way of celebrating Easter, your way of having parties, drinking, and have fun in life. So even though we're talking about, really, as we began to talk about what's going on the ground, terrible things, when I think about Ukraine, I think about all these people I met, fantastic people with a fighting spirit you should be so proud of.
Oh, so thank you. And the last moment, could I ask you, please tell in Ukrainian this very popular phrase in Ukraine, Доброго вечора, ми з України. It's like for supporting all Ukrainians in Sweden and Ukraine. It's very important phrase for us. So please, could you repeat this?
We used to just say Slavi Ukraini all the time. I know it's a difficult language to learn. Our colleagues here in the European Parliament, they have promised to have a language course for us. Lesson number 1, it hasn't started yet, so I'm still waiting. But I'm looking forward to at least express some basic words in your language. And I'm looking forward to more relation, more contacts, and of course, I'm looking forward to the day when Ukraine joins the European Union, so I could have Ukrainian colleagues together with us in the group here and in the European Parliament.
Thank you very, very much for all of you have done, and what are you doing now for Ukraine and for my people. It's so important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks to all Ukrainians for what you are doing for us and for Europe.
This was Voice for Ukraine. If you want to share your story with us, please send it to email voiceforukraine@voice.ce. Slava Ukraini!